Good morning and welcome to the Commission meeting of December 2nd, 2025. I'll call this meeting to order and will note for the record a quorum of members present with Commissioner Karski absent. Before we get started, please double check that you've silenced your phone and make sure to sign in the back of the room if you plan on providing public comment today. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll consider a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is used to act on routine items by one motion and vote of the board. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the consent agenda? Okay, items may be moved from the consent agenda to the regular agenda by request of a commissioner. Are there any commissioner requests to remove items from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Benega,
Aye.
Heisey,
Aye.
Kipley,
Aye.
Bleinberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to regular business. After each agenda item is presented, there will be an opportunity for the public to share their comments on the item. If you plan to speak during the meeting today, please make sure you sign in on the sheet by the door. And before your remarks, please identify yourself and state the county where you reside. Item number 6 on the agenda is to consider a motion to authorize the chair to sign a resolution appointing a member to the Minnehaha County Housing and Redevelopment Commission. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Tom Greco, Commission Administrative Officer. So as the name of the agenda item stated, this is an appointment for Aspen Thorstensen to the Minnehaha County Housing and Redevelopment Commission. She would be one of 5 commissioners on that particular body. Each commissioner is appointed to a term of 5 years. She will be replacing Carol Tweet, who is not seeking an additional term. Of course, we appreciate Carol's service on the board over these past 10 years or so. Aspen comes to us. She's a Hartford resident, certainly a Minnehaha County resident, is a local architect, and has recently served on the Accessible Housing and Advisory Board. So this is a good fit for her. We're excited to see her come on board. Just finally, this is actually a chair appointment and requires the approval of the commission. So would urge your approval of this appointment.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on this item? Commission?
I would make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Benega,
Aye.
Kipley,
Aye.
Heisey,
Aye.
Bleinberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 7 is consider a motion to authorize the chair to sign a resolution appointing a member to the Minnehaha County Public Defender Advisory Board. And Tracy Smith. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning. This is a request to ask that Craig Johnson be appointed to fill the vacant position for the replacement of Ryan White. He has served on our advisory board for a number of years. He wanted to give another person an opportunity to serve. We're grateful that he has served on our board. Craig Johnson is a retired executive officer who expressed interest in serving on our board. He is a graduate from Leadership Sioux Falls, the Leadership Academy like Ryan White was. He has demonstrated a commitment to serving local government and our community. He has a background in computer science, electrical engineering from Iowa State University. Prior to that, he attended the United States Naval Academy, where he majored in aeronautic engineering. He has served on a number of advisory boards in the past. I believe he's here today, so we are asking the commission to appoint him to serve on our advisory board.
Thank you. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this item? Okay. Commission, discussion or motion?
I'd make a motion to appoint Craig Johnson.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 8 is to consider a motion to authorize the chair to sign a resolution appointing members to the Siouxland Heritage Museum Board of Directors. Bill Hoskins. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Hoskins, Director of the Siouxland Heritage Museums. I'm a little different situation, just the Siouxland Heritage Museums were created under a joint cooperative agreement between the City of Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County. In 1974, we have an 11-member board. 4 members are appointed by the County Commission. Commissioner Heisey also serves on the museum board. 4 members are appointed by the mayor of Sioux Falls, confirmed by the city council. The mayor or his designee serves on the board, in this case, Kurt Soul. And then the 11th member is the president or vice president of the Siouxland Heritage Museums Alliance, a private nonprofit friends group. Kind of an interesting thing, I'm asking today for the reappointment of John Nordley. John has served 1 3-year term. We're asking for a reappointment to a second 3-year term. You're maxed out at 6 years on the museum board. I'm also asking for an appointment of Deanna Parker to a 2-year term. We had a board member just resign. He was appointed a year ago. His job load and his other work required it. So I'm asking for Deanna to be appointed for to fill out his 2 years remaining on his term. Then she would be eligible for 2 3-year terms after that appointed. And then I'm asking for the appointment of Tom Benz and Lindsay Peterson for their first 3-year terms on the board. Usually all 4 county appointments don't come up at the same time. Tom, all look like great candidates. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on this item? And Commission, I think one motion approves all.
Well, being the liaison, and thank you for joining us this morning, Bill. I'm going to take your recommendations, and I respect your judgment, and really enjoyed my time serving on the museum board, and I think these are great candidates that'll move forward the project of the museum and fulfill its community-wide purpose. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to appoint Mr. Nordley, Mr. Benz, Ms. Peterson, and Ms. Parker.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Heisey.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 9, consider a motion to authorize the chair to sign a resolution appointing members to the Minnehaha County Planning Commission. Scott Anderson, Planning Director. Good morning, Scott.
Thank you. Scott Anderson, Planning Director. And as indicated, I'm requesting appointment of 2 people to the Planning Commission. The 2 that I'm recommending are existing planning commissioners. They have served 2 terms and 1 term, I think, respectively. The one is Bonnie Duffy. She has experience in the appraisal field and real estate. And the other is Mike Ralston, who is actively working in the construction industry and has a background in that. They both are rural residences, live out in the county. I have reviewed these candidates with my commission liaison, who also serves on the Planning Commission, Commissioner Kipley, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you have. Both are here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Good morning.
Morning, Cindy Meyer, Minnehaha County. I would just like it to be known that, the last time they had an opening on zoning and planning, I knew some of the candidates. And again, even though it was stated by Commissioner Kipley that we need new blood to get some fresh ideas, the appointments went back to the incumbents. Or one incumbent and a former commissioner. Well, the same is happening this time. Again, they had 11 candidates, and they're nominating the incumbents. Why do we not want to get fresh blood in there, fresh ideas? Tracy Smith, when she was giving her presentation, said that the member of her board was stepping aside so we could get some fresh ideas, new blood. They wanted to give somebody else an opportunity. Why do we keep nominating and appointing the incumbents? I think we need some fresh blood. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this item? Okay, looking to the commission, discussion or motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to nominate Bonnie Duffy and Mike Ralston with just the comment that appreciate your service and your willingness to continue to serve. We've just got a new comprehensive plan in place, and some of that, the continuity and institutional knowledge of how that was put together. Bonnie has chaired the commission for the time that I've been on the planning commission, and Mike has been one of the strongest members. I think sometimes we get locked into some tough decisions, and it takes people that are willing to step up and talk some things out, and that's a difficult task. So I appreciate them and their willingness to continue their service, and that would be my motion.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. That brings us to item number 10, authorize the chair to sign the 2026 Animal Control Services Agreement. Meredith Jarko, good morning.
Good morning, Meredith Jarko, Assistant Commission Administrative Officer. So today before you, we have the 2026 Humane Society contract. That is for our animal control services in the county outside of Sioux Falls city limits. So this contract runs from January of 2026 to December of 2026. They are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing those animal control services. So this budget amount was approved during the budget process, but this is just the formal contract to get that signed with Sioux Falls Area Humane Society. So I am open to any questions you have.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Commission?
I would make a motion to approve the annual contract.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Benega.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 11 is consider a motion to authorize the chair to sign the 2026 coroner and medical examiner contract. Meredith.
Sorry, Meredith Jarko, Assistant Commission Administrative Officer. Again, this is the 2026 contract with Dr. Kenneth Snell for coroner and medical examiner services. Approved during the budget process. This is just the formal contract. Open to any questions you have. There are just some regular inflationary increases for that contract.
Any public comment on this item? Commission? I could just start us off by saying I appreciate Dr. Snell and the work he does. He has an excellent reputation. It's been a pleasure getting to know him over the last several years and just learning some of the deeper, darker oddities that county government takes care of. He does an excellent job for us.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Authorize the chair to sign an agreement for counsel to represent respondents on mental health holds. Tom Greco,
All
good
right.
morning.
Good morning, Tom Greco, Commission Administrative Officer. So Renee, this agreement that's before you is essentially a renewal of past agreements that we've had with Renee Cruz. This particular agreement does provide for representation to respondents for mental health holds. Renee is a great resource and certainly reliable in that field. We would recommend approval of this contract. It's an approximately 3% increase over last year. Typically, just for context, this year we've seen approximately 1,600 mental health holds. About 20%, 25% of those go to hearings, and those are the ones that Renee is providing the services to. So I would recommend approval of this contract. It would be in place from January 1st to December 31st of '26.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Commission?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey. Benega.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 13 is an informal briefing on 2025 bridge inspection review. Jacob Morris, good morning.
Good morning, Commission. Jacob Mars, Highway Superintendent. Chris Brozick with Civil Design Inc. is here this morning to give a presentation on what he did this summer for us. Every year, DOT and Federal Highway require us to keep our bridges inspected. So we do half of the county essentially every year, and we pay for 20% of that inspection cost, with the remainder of it being picked up by the DOT.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Brozick, Civil Design Inc. out of Brookings, South Dakota. I'm going to scroll down to the presentation here and see if I can get it to show up on the screen correctly. I'm going to let someone else take over. I'm going to zoom out just a hair more. Okay. So as Jacob mentioned, we're contracted with South Dakota Department of Transportation to handle the county's bridge inspections every year. Every year we inspect about half of the county's bridges. Some of those are inspected on a yearly basis. Majority of those structures are inspected every 24 months. This year, we inspected 93 of those 195 structures that Minnehaha County currently has in service. 88 of those structures are existing structures that go up for re-inspection based on their inspection frequency. 7 of those 88 existing structures are currently posted for a weight restriction. One of those existing weight restricted structures had a further restriction that was brought forth to the Commission earlier this summer to further reduce the load posting, which I'll explain further. We did not have any critical findings, which indicates any unique circumstance that would maybe pose issue with the structure or an immediate closure or something of that nature. So good news there, nothing jaw-dropping that we observed out on site. There were also 4 new structures reconstructed this year, and as part of that, we also performed an initial inspection to get that into the state and federal highway system and get that in the inspection program. We also had a structure that had major rehabilitation that we'd also performed a re-inspection on. I'll explain what that work entailed. And then again, most bridges are inspected on a 24-month inspection cycle. Some are inspected more frequently, like a 12-month inspection, if there's deterioration or it's in a condition where we want to monitor that more frequently. Some structures also can be inspected less frequently, out as much as 48 months. Typically, your concrete box culverts that meet certain criteria within the confines of the inspection program. And then again, just as a reminder, when I'm mentioning a bridge, we're talking about any structure that's greater than 20 feet in length. So if you have any infrastructure out there that's 19 feet or less, that's not something that's part of this program. We also had a review meeting with Minnehaha County Highway Department to go through each bridge inspection report in detail and any recommendations that we had for the Highway Department in terms of just annual maintenance work or any repairs that were necessary to keep the bridge, in good repair. So as mentioned, we inspected 93 structures this year. 79 of those 93 structures are bridges, 14 of those being concrete box culverts. As you can see, we rate these structures on a scale of 0 to 9, 7 to 9 being a good condition, 5 to 6 being fair condition, 4 or less being in that poor condition category. Overall, 43 of those 93 being in good, 37 in fair, 13 in poor. Overall, this is actually a very good grading of the county's infrastructure from my perspective. You guys are very proactive about replacing structures that are in need and keeping things in a state of good repair. So overall, very pleased to see these numbers from my standpoint.
Chris, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
Sorry. Going back to your slide, the 13 that are in poor condition, are those box culverts or bridges?
They would most likely be a bridge. I don't have that data off the top of my head, but I would assume that majority of those are bridges that are exceeding or to the end of their service life or getting near that service life, and they're either already in a 5-year capital improvement plan or plan to be in the near future. Yep.
Thank you.
So as mentioned, of those 88, 7 are load posted currently. One of those structures did require a further restriction of the weight, the posted weight restriction. That structure is 50273-090, located 4 miles west of Garrettson on 253rd Street. The main reason for having to further restrict the weight on this structure is predominantly the east back wall and abutment, the concrete back wall on this structure. So it would be this right wall in this photo and this photo here looking directly at the back wall. There's a pretty significant structural crack vertically down the center of the wall, and we've been monitoring that over the past handful of years. And at this last inspection, it did further expand that crack and also had some movement to the wall. This photo on the right, you can actually see a little bit of that wall tipping inward now as well as bowing inward. And so nothing that requires, complete closure of the bridge, but definitely some additional movement going on there that we're continuing to monitor. And because of that, we required a further restriction of the weight. That was brought to the commission earlier this summer in order for the highway department to get the updated load posting signage out on this roadway. The next few slides are just of the 88 we inspected. There's a handful that, we're definitely monitoring closer, nothing that needs to be, posted for a weight restriction or anything that's unsafe to the traveling public, but just ones that are starting to see some age and advanced deterioration that we're definitely keeping a closer watch on, and wanted to make the commissioners aware of that as well. So the first one is 5160-199 on La Mesa Drive, just north of the Madison Street intersection. This one has actually been studied already for Minnehaha County to help determine, what a future replacement structure might look like on this one, to try to be as proactive as possible. This one is a concrete double T bridge and has some deterioration along the longitudinal joints where the precast units adjoin next to one another, and also some deterioration of the back walls and the ends of the concrete double Ts as well. So things we're monitoring. Again, nothing that requires a weight restriction at this time, but this one is on an annual inspection now. And, at any given year, if we see a noticeable enough change in the condition, it could prompt a weight restriction at this location. The next structure is 5205-150, just north of Sioux Falls on 259th Street. This one is 1 mile south of Renner and is a 2-span precast concrete deck unit. This one, because of the amount of cracking that we're seeing in some of the beams that make up the bridge superstructure and some of the conditions, at the substructure components that help support the beams, we are keeping a closer eye on this one as well, mainly with cracking in concrete beams. It's okay if it's not a pre-stressed concrete girder, but those are things we definitely want to monitor to make sure they aren't expanding or getting worse on an accelerated basis. The next structure is 5242060 on County Highway 114, just east of Baltic. This one really, it's a continuous concrete slab bridge, and over the years, the county has done a great job of maintaining this bridge and getting as much out of it as they possibly can. As you can see in this photo, there's been quite a few different patch jobs on this slab to maintain rideability and any spalling of that slab to, keep it safe for the traveling public. It is getting to that point where we're starting to monitor more closely. There's about as much patchwork that can safely be done on this one, and it's to that point where we're continuing to monitor to the point where it needs to be replaced. This one has also been studied for Minnehaha County Highway to help with sizing a replacement structure in the future, and I believe is in the 5-year capital improvement plan as well. This last structure is 5330086, located approximately 2 miles east and just north of Garrettson. And this one's on County Highway 103. Again, another concrete double T bridge that has some similar deterioration along the longitudinal joints between the concrete double Ts and some cracking of the stems in the beams themselves. So again, another one that we're inspecting annually to make sure we're monitoring those more closely to see if there's any significant change in the condition where it may prompt a load posting as well. As I mentioned, Minnehaha County did replace 4 structures this year. 2 of those were completed earlier this year, the first one being 5180-134 on County Highway 133, just northwest of Renner. And this was replaced, it was a 3-span continuous concrete slab bridge that was replaced with a 3-cell cast-in-place concrete box culvert. That was completed in May of 2025 and reopened to traffic. Everything looked really good on that. The second structure listed here is 50290-131, just north and east of Corson, and that was completed in September 2025. Also a cast-in-place concrete box culvert. There was one structure that required rehabilitation due to some deck deterioration that required some repair and then installation of a low slump concrete overlay. We also did some safety improvements that included some rail retrofit on the bridge, as well as approach guardrails, approach slabs, and some signage improvements as well. This photo here on the top left indicates some of the work that was done to rehab the bridge rail. The top right here is, I guess I'll start with the bottom left. This here is some deck repair work that was done requiring some jackhammering to get bad concrete essentially out of the deck and then infilling that, and then eventually the picture in the top right is what's called a low slump concrete overlay that will help protect that deck and extend that service life of the deck without having to do a full deck replacement or structure replacement. And then the bottom right picture is the completed product at the end of the rehabilitation. Overall, this project went very smoothly as well. The last 2 structures here are 50087-120 and 50144-020. These were replacement structures as well. And my slide's a little outdated. These were actually reopened to traffic a day before Thanksgiving. And so as part of our job, we'll go out and do an initial inspection on those and get those included into the bridge inspection program and document any any condition, shortly after construction. Finally, in addition to doing field inspection work, we also provide detailed bridge inspection reports for each structure and provide that not only to Minnehaha County, but also to South Dakota DOT, so they're aware of the condition of each bridge. That information is also provided into a database that gets submitted to Federal Highway so that they're aware from a national standpoint what everyone's stated of bridge condition is throughout the country. One thing we do as well, in addition, is we provide kind of a very high-level view summary sheet for the county to take a quick glance at the overall state of their structures, and within those sheets are its overall condition, whether it's currently posted for a weight restriction, if it needs to be posted for a weight restriction, if there's any change, and then also any of those repair recommendations that we have as well. And that's what that's depicting here on the right. And as I mentioned, we did meet with the Highway Department back on November 24th to go through that in detail, just to make sure that they understood what all of our recommendations were moving forward. With that, I will take any questions that anyone has for me.
Thank you, Chris. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this agenda item? Okay. Commission?
I have a quick question for Chris or Jacob. When we apply for BIG funding for some of the construction projects we have, does your rating affect those standards on how they prioritize their grant awards?
Yes, it does. The long and short is, as a structure becomes posted, the way the algorithm works for that scoring process means that it will raise that score, and then as the weight restriction becomes more severe, that will further increase your score. And so when you have a structure that's not posted, it's not necessarily quite as competitive as a structure that is aging and has more of a weight restriction, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Thank you.
And I have a question, maybe for Jacob. Of the structures that are listed as poor condition, where do those fall typically on our 5-year plan? Are they all included in there, and are they all near the beginning, or are they spread out?
Yeah, it really depends specifically on the structure, what type of shape it is, how much traffic that bridge is getting. I don't know for certain that all 14 of those in poor condition are on our structures list. Some of them that are listed in poor condition aren't necessarily bad bridges, but weren't designed to today's standards, so they would fall in as a poor bridge. If it's not structurally unsound, we're not necessarily looking to go out and replace it tomorrow, versus the bridges that we currently have posted, which are restricting our ability to provide commerce throughout the county.
And can you tell me just a little bit what kind of safety standards have changed?
One really good example would be the structures just straight east of Del Rapids. They're narrower than the roadway is itself. And then other safety standards would be guardrail, for instance, on a structure. Those standards have increased quite a bit in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And a lot of our structures that out there are 40, 50, 60 years old.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Chair, I have a quick question as well, as either one of you can answer this. I'm just curious what the process is, and when a weight limit is changed. Is a notice put out to local residents, farmers? Is it simply a sign?
So the process for doing a load posting, say you got a structure that is currently able to handle legal loads, and we go out and do an inspection. If we see something that triggers, a weight restriction, it might require us to go back to the office and actually do a load rating analysis, do calculations to figure out, is it still safe to handle legal loads, or does it require a certain restriction based on what our calculations show? Other structures that are older, sometimes we don't have enough information available to us to actually perform calculations, and so we have to use engineering judgment to provide a recommendation on what that weight restriction should be. And once we determine what that is, we will then, within a 48-hour time frame, present that recommendation to the highway department, and then at that point, they would bring that forward to the commission, and they have 30 days from our notice to get load posting signage up to make sure that we don't have overweight trucks or vehicles going across that said structure.
And just to follow up on that, when you're doing inspections, are those inspections staggered throughout the year, or do they tend to be during a certain season or depending on the quality of the bridge?
Yeah, so each structure has a deadline, so to speak, and it's basically 24 months from its previous inspection date. So throughout the summer, generally, we're performing inspections for Minnehaha County between June and July. And so each bridge has its own completion date, and then we also get a grace period of approximately 2 months after that completion date. So generally speaking, I'm out there from June to July handling 95% of your inspections.
Are you also inspecting culverts within the townships and giving them advice?
We are not, just because that would fall under the small structure category, which is that less than 20-foot requirement.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This is a briefing, so no action is needed. That brings us to an opportunity for public comment.
Good morning, Cindy Meyer, Minnehaha County. I just wanted to report, in mid-November, we held our Hand Count Expo, and we announced it at the commission meeting. Only one of our commissioners attended. That was Mr. Cole Heisey. He attended. He got certified. We certified 73 members of the public that day in being a certified hand counter. This is what we consider to be continuity of government plan. There was we've been talking about stolen elections for 5 years now, not ever been allowed to speak to the commission about it, but there is now a book that's been put out. It's called Stolen Elections. The author is Ralph Pizzullo. I'll hold it up here. I'm not sure if they can see that on camera. Cole has agreed to read the book, and I would encourage all of you to read the book. It talks about how we have foreign interference in our elections. It talks about how the Venezuelan government has had a hand in helping to do the coding for the source code that is in all of our machines, all of our electronic machines that are used in the elections. We use the electronic tabulators. They are programmed with thumb drives, and so it is documented in this book how the Venezuelan government has had a hand in doing that in all of our equipment, and that is foreign interference in our elections, and it will be brought to everybody's attention. It's getting more local news media all the time, or not local news, but national news media all the time. So again, I would like to encourage you all to get up to speed on that, to know what it is that we've been talking about. We've been talking about this for 5 years. We were right about it. It's now documented in a book. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was that couple of weeks ago when I got called out for saying something, and I just wanted to point out that it was a violation of my First Amendment rights. And I'm just wondering how come, as the state's attorney sits there with the commission, why they did not put a stop to my First Amendment rights being violated. It's very unfortunate. If we had a legal system that worked for the people, perhaps there would be a reason to take it and pursue it further. But at this point, it's a waste of time and a waste of money to do anything like that. So I just want it made known that it is a violation of my First Amendment rights. And the other thing I want to say is that, the media, hopefully the media is listening to this, because all the media said I got booted out of the room. I got escorted by a deputy, which I did not. I went back and I sat in my chair. I've got witnesses to that. And it's just unfortunate that the lies just continue to be against the people that are trying to spread the truth about these matters. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Gary Meyer. I would like to tag on a little bit what Cindy said. 2 weeks ago, after a rather heated outcome of this meeting, the constituent, my wife, got up and uttered the words "shit show," at which point Commissioner Karski came unglued and told her to sit down. Now, this was out of character for Cindy, and she was frustrated. And she realized that, and she tried to apologize. Commissioner Karski wouldn't hear of it and told her to sit down or she would be escorted out. What happened to her First Amendment right of free speech? To air her grievances against her government. And may I bring you back a few months previously when Joe Kipley accused the auditor of committing a crime. And after he did that, he commenced to calling her many derogatory names. And then he wasn't done. He commenced to calling any of her supporters more derogatory names. And Commissioner Karski sat silent. And a few weeks later, several people got up and spoke at public comment. And after they sat down, Joe Kipley commenced to ridicule all of them, telling them they were ignorant, didn't know what they were talking about, ill-informed, and a small minority of complainers just sucking up the oxygen out of the room that he needed to breathe. And again, Commissioner Karski and all of you sat silent. I went up to Commissioner Karski after our meeting adjourned at one of these points, and I tried to ask him, why do you not stop Joe from all these derogatory remarks? And he very sternly looked at me and said, I cannot control what Commissioner Kipley says. That's his right, the right of the First Amendment of free speech. To this day, to back up a little bit, after these accusations were made, Auditor Anderson immediately set up an appointment with Commissioner Karski, the state's attorney, Eric Bogue, and Joe Kipley, because she wanted to resolve it. This was a black mark on her reputation. Well, Joe refused to attend the meeting. He's refused to this day to clear her name, to say what laws she's broke. And this commission has refused to reprimand him for that. All you commissioners have a responsibility. And so I approached Dean and I asked him. And again, he said he can say whatever he wants. And when I tried to further my explanation, and I did this, I thought, rather calmly, I was not yelling at him. I said, but he was clearly out of order, not becoming of a commissioner. And he very sternly looked at me and said, this conversation is over. Now get out of my face. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I would put Mr. Kipley's actions as the tort of defamation. The tort of defamation, or defamation of character, occurs with false statements, either spoken, which is slander, or written, which is libel. False statement of fact injures a person's reputation. The First Amendment does not protect these statements. Now, Commissioner Kipley has never cleared Leah's name, and I think it needs to be publicly done. He falsely accused her of a crime. Now, why didn't he tell the rest of you or the state's attorney what that crime was? It only leads me to one deduction. He was lying. Under oath as a commissioner who swore to uphold the Constitution. which gives us the right to air our grievances against the government and does not give him the right to defame someone's character. So, Joe, I would ask that you close your computer, grab your coat, and resign from your position. You are not becoming of being a county commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay, that brings us to Commissioner Liaison Reports. Commissioners? I could get us started and just let you know that during the budget process, the library, the Siouxland Libraries, was trying to determine the best way to cut and to save some money on our budgets. And they are continuing with that work, so just wanted to share that update. I know it doesn't impact our budget as much as the city's budget, but we are continuing to try to find efficiencies in staffing and hours and services that we provide, really narrowing in on the mission of the library and trying to make sure that we're providing quality programming and hours for the public, especially. I just keep an eye on those county hours. So we're doing our best to continue to serve. And there's also been that expanded access, which is really a great feature for citizens out in the county. That's all I have.
Mr. Chair, I suppose I'll chime in next. Wanted to first mention that Governor Roden's budget address is happening this afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. and it should be live streamed. I did want to mention that the reason I was absent last Tuesday, I was appointed to the Task Force on Open Meetings Laws, which hosted at by the AG. Had a lot of interesting conversations, and we ended up making several proposals, some other proposals being tabled. They'll be proposing some of those law changes to the upcoming legislature in the session this next year. A date hasn't been set yet, but we're looking at sometime, most likely next April, for an additional meeting to review the open meeting laws.
Thank you. Yep. It was a short week, so looking forward to more meetings coming up this week. And anybody else? Otherwise, that brings us to non-action commission discussion. I just wanted to mention, I was so focused on trying to make sure I checked all the boxes as we went here that I did not thank the applicants and the outgoing board members for their service and for the interest. And I would just like to continue to encourage the public who's interested in serving to continue to apply for those positions. I debated long and hard about some of the thoughts with experienced and confident board members and new board members that would bring in fresh ideas. And I just have to say that I've been so honored to be able to observe the work that these volunteers do, and without much thanks, without much credit, and really without complaints. We hear just good things about all of the board members that we have that have volunteered in the community. So it is a sticky spot, but I would encourage people to continue to apply and consider volunteering for those positions. Yes, Mr.
I'd like to make one comment about the highway department. Last week we had our first large snowstorm, obviously, and on their quote holiday pay and holiday time off, they were out providing safe transportation routes to everybody in the county. And I actually had a compliment from someone about your process, so I wanted to let you guys know that we appreciate your extra work on a, frankly, when you were probably planning Thanksgiving activities, but you more than prioritized your responsibilities on the county highways, and I appreciate that. And then so do the people who responded to me, so thank you.
Okay.
Raise another issue too, just on your comments, Commissioner Bleinberg. We had quite a number of applicants for these boards, which is really good to see. And it's always a balance between experience and bringing in new blood. And just in response to some public comments that were made, we did appoint a number of individuals who hadn't served in the past. I do want to congratulate those individuals and also encourage the people that weren't selected or any other members of the public that have an interest in serving on a board to look at attending some of those meetings. Most of them are public, but also looking at reapplying in the future down the road. So,
Thank you. Okay, there's no executive session today, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Thank you.